The 2023 NFL Draft is right around the corner, and if you're looking for more Raiders mock drafts, then hit that subscribe button, whether it's a mock from me or a reaction from a place like ESPN, like you're going to see today. If you want more draft content, we're the channel for you. So recently I saw that ESPN released an entire full 7-round, 12-pick mock draft for the Las Vegas Raiders. So coming up here on today's show is I'm going to tell you what that mock looks like, and then I'm going to give you my reaction to each of those picks. And at the very, very end, we are going to grade it together. So the first 6 picks that ended up coming off the board, C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, Will Anderson, Anthony Richardson, Jalen Carter, and then Tyree Wilson. I'm not going to lie, this is a very possible draft if I'm being honest with everyone out there. So if it was up to me, I would love to get Christian Gonzalez here, which for those of you that know who watch the show. However, ESPN ends up taking quarterback Will Levis with the 7th pick. I can already see Graphic Raider putting some mayo in his coffee right now. There is upside with Levis, no doubt about it. And I do think before his injury, he showed flashes of, okay, this is a quarterback that definitely has some high upside. In terms of why ESPN decided to go this route and drafting Levis at number 7 for the Silver and Black is this. With Jimmy Garoppolo now in Las Vegas, the Raiders can take the long view on the quarterback position in this draft. Based on the structure of his 3-year, $72.5 million deal, he could be viewed as a reliable bridge option to a potential long-term solution. Levis has the physical profile and competitive nature many teams would target, but his decision-making will need to improve. Will teams get the 2021 or 2022 version of him? He was far more inconsistent last season, even though his total numbers are similar. Levis has plenty of fans in the scouting and executive levels of the league, and Coach Josh McDaniels is the exact type of tutor he will need to reach his potential. I do understand and I agree that McDaniels is definitely one of those coaches that they look at Will Levis and they're like, I can make this kid work. And I agree. You look at his 2021 to 2022 tape, it's different. But I do think that the injuries in 2022 played a big role in some of the reasons why those numbers were down a little bit. So let's just say you and I were rocking out on the Raiders Report. We're watching. We're getting ready for that number 7 pick to roll in. Roger Goodell, we're booing the hell out of him, of course, walks up to the podium and he goes, with the number 7 pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Will Levis. How would you grade it? A, B, C, D, or F? I would end up giving this a C grade. I would still want Christian Gonzalez. I get the idea of you going the long-term plan with Will Levis, but I will continue to say this. I like the quarterbacks a lot more in next year's class, so for that reason, I don't want to take a QB at 7. I would rather the Raiders trade back. I would rather the Raiders take a player that's going to help them win right now in this season. Let's go to round 2, pick number 38 in this mock. I should also mention that there are no trades, so you will see 12 picks. It's Dalton Kincaid. Kincaid is one of my favorite tight end prospects. I actually have him right now ranked number 3. He's a Las Vegas native, so that's really cool to see. At 6'4", 240 pounds, 70 catches, 890 yards, 8 touchdowns last season for the Utah Utes. The reason why ESPN has him mocked to the Raiders is this. After the trade of Darren Waller, the Raiders added veterans Austin Hooper and O.J. Howard, but the tight end remains one of the biggest holes on this roster. Kincaid would be a dynamic receiving option and a mismatch for linebackers and safeties. His pass-catching ability is arguably the best of any tight end in this class. He could quickly become a go-to target for quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo. I, again, 100% agree with this. I want the Raiders to take a tight end because you look at Austin Hooper. He's the pass catcher, 1-year deal. O.J. Howard, the blocker, 1-year deal. So if you're able to get a high-end tight end like Kincaid who can catch the football really well, that's what I see really helping out this Raiders offense. Let's now go to round 3, pick number 70, and it's Jacqueline Roy, defensive tackle from LSU. 49 tackles, a half a sack, 0 forced fumbles. He would be able to join his teammate Neil Farrell Jr., who the Raiders drafted last season in the 4th round. In terms of why they decided to go this route, it's because defensive tackle is a major need for the Raiders, and Roy would give them a young 305-pounder in the middle of the defense. His combination of hand power and sturdiness at the point of attack is what Las Vegas lacks inside. I continue to say time and time again that the biggest need here for this Raiders defense is defensive tackle. However, at number 70, I don't have Roy as a top 100 prospect. So with that being said, I still don't know if I would love the idea of going this route because to me, you still need to be able to address your defensive tackle position. Now, before I show you the second third-round pick at number 100, the move that we made to trade Waller, hey, man, we got some brand new Raiders draft hats available for all y'all at the link below. It's chatsports.com/Raiders draft. Whether you're a flat bill guy, whether you're a curve brim guy, flat bill, type F, curve, type C. Me personally, I like a good snapback. Back in my baseball days, which I found this like baseball old school Raiders cutoff, I would have wore the curved brim. Never cool enough to be flat bill guy, but a good snapback hat I think can go a long way. So that's personally my favorite. Whether you want the black one, whether you want the silver hat, I think they look really cool for like throwback looks. They are available and they are going quickly. So again, it's chatsports.com/Raiders draft. Link's going to be available for you guys in the comments and in the description of today's show. Let's go to round 3, pick 100, and it's edge rusher Byron Young from Tennessee. Not to be confused, there is another Byron Young in this year's draft from Alabama, but he's a defensive tackle. 37 tackles, 12 tackles for loss, 7 sacks last season for the Volunteers. And the reason why ESPN mocked him to the Raiders is the Raiders, I agree with this, you need depth behind Max Crosby and Chandler Jones. Young is a bendy, urgent pass rusher who can win off the edge. At 6'2", 250, he's a weak side rusher with the potential to succeed early in obvious passing down situations. Now, I know I'm going to do this, and I believe there's going to be a lot of people out there that do the same. The fact that the Raiders traded away Darren Waller for the number 100 overall pick, the way that I would look at that is whoever the Raiders end up taking at 100, and then the Raiders, with the money that they were able to save with Waller and the way that they structured contracts, it's essentially the way I would look at it is, okay, you were able to get Jacoby Myers, Austin Hooper, and in this scenario, Byron Young for Darren Waller. If this is the scenario that ends up going down, I'm going to ask you, who do you think ends up winning the Waller trade? Is it the Las Vegas Raiders? Type LV. If you think it's the New York Giants, type NYG. I know losing Waller sucks, and if he's 100% healthy, I'll still probably say Waller would have been the better option. However, I don't have a lot of confidence that Waller is going to be out there and healthy. And I don't have a lot of confidence that he's going to be a reliable option because how motivated is he actually? So if we're able to get Jacoby Myers, Austin Hooper, and then add an extra edge rusher, I do like the looks of that. On top of that, Byron Young, good leader, a captain, and his teammate Matthew Butler is also a player that the Raiders drafted last season. Let's go now to round 4, and it's pick 109, Eli Ricks, cornerback from Alabama. He's 6'2", 190 pounds. The reason why I like this move, even though I don't have Ricks in my top 100 in terms of prospects, he is, I think in the right range here. The Raiders, they signed 2 cornerbacks this season. Duke Shelley, who is tiny. He's 5'9", not a long guy. Then you got David Long Jr., 5'11", another shorter outside corner. If you add Ricks, he's got that long limbs. He almost looks like one of those like inflatable guys, you see like on at the car lots or whatever. He can match up well with wide receivers. He can stack up against them, give bigger receivers a challenge that those 2 other corners I do personally think would struggle with. Let's go now to round 5, pick 141. This is my favorite late round sleeper at offensive guard. His tape to me doesn't match what he did at the NFL Combine, but with the Raiders adding Alex Bars, they have Netane Moody. If you're able to have just another late round offensive guard prospect that I do think has some good upside, that's why I like Mafi. And if I'm the Raiders, I'm taking upside at the offensive guard position because I have Carmen Drusilla, who I have a lot of confidence in. Let's go with another pick here, J.L. Skinner. This might be one of my favorite picks that ESPN ends up making in this mock. I got Skinner like somewhere around my 85th overall prospect. So he's in your top 100. You're able to get him at 144. We see time and time again that for whatever reason, and I get it, the safety position is a hard one to wrap your mind around at the NFL level, and safeties do fall down the board quite a bit. But I love this production coming out of Boise State. 4 interceptions, 4 pass breakups, and he's a big guy. So like at 6'4", 220, I'm going to throw out a name. If he's able to add a few more pounds, I would love to see J.L. Skinner in the right system play sort of like a Cam Chancellor type role, different type of player, but he offers that athletic ability. He's not afraid to tackle, and he's a good playmaker. This is a really good value pick here. Let's go to round 5, pick 174. It's Jordan McFadden, the offensive lineman from Clemson. I know that the Raiders love team captains, and when McFadden was named the unanimous team captain for the Clemson Tigers, that's going to speak volumes. And like what I said about Mafi, McFadden's not nearly the athlete. However, he is an offensive tackle. And if you're looking for extra depth and you're looking for an extra player, I get it. But with the Raiders' current offensive line situation, and when you actually look at the mock draft that ends up going down, to me, there were better players available, but this is still good value. Before I show you the final 4 picks in this ESPN mock, one more time here, if you guys want to interact with me, I am at Mitchell Renz 365, literally everywhere. If you want to join some more of the GOATs over on Locals, it's RaidersReport.locals.com. This is definitely the time of the year where I do think it's important for people to be able to interact with me on a continuous basis, so that way you never miss a thing. Let's go to round 6, 204, and this is probably the best value pick that the Raiders have. It's Corey Trice. Love this kid a lot. 6'3", 215 pounds. Again, a long, lanky corner. And to be honest, he could probably even play a little bit of safety. 34 tackles, 2 interceptions, 10 pass breakups. I have him as a top 100 prospect. He's ranked 99, but for you to be able to get a top 100 prospect at 204 is a steal. So like I said with Eli Ricks, I like that ESPN did this thing where they looked for long, high upside corners because the corners that the Raiders have already brought in, undersized man guys. Both Trice and Eli are also long, lanky man corners. Let's go to Rakeem Jarrett here in 6th round, pick 214. He's a slot receiver, which with the Raiders bringing in DeAndre Carter, the Raiders already have a DJ Turner. To me, Rakeem Jarrett is basically a DJ Turner. He could be able to offer you a little bit of special teams ability, but when I look at a slot receiver, okay, he was a very highly recruited player coming out of high school. When I look at a slot guy, I want good route runner. I want somebody who knows what they're doing in and out of the routes. Like Hunter Renfro's not an elite athlete by any means, but he's a route technician. Jarrett can't run routes. He's a good athlete, but if you're going to play in the slot, I want somebody that can run routes. Didn't love this pick here. Round 7, pick 220. Chris Rodriguez Jr., running back from Kentucky. I get it's the 7th round. This pick just doesn't make any sense to me. He's a bulldozer in terms of a running back, 175 carries, 904 yards. But the Raiders have Josh Jacobs. You brought back Amir Abdullah. I get it. Different scenario in terms of running backs. You drafted Britton Brown last season. The running back that I like, that I think a lot of people who don't follow the Raiders are sleeping on, Sincere McCormick from UTSA. So what? You're going to have Chris Rodriguez as your 6th running back on your depth chart? No, I just don't think it makes a lot of sense, man. And then the final guy here, it's Colby Turner from Wake Forest at 6'3", 290 pounds, 38 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. The Raiders' biggest need is defensive tackle. If this is your final pick and you just want to go based on need and you're trying to add a little bit more depth to that position, I'm not going to hate on 231 all that much. So let's round out one more time here this Raiders mock draft from ESPN. You ended up going Will Levis, Dalton Kincaid, Jacqueline Roy from LSU, the defensive tackle, Byron Young, Eli Ricks, Mafi, the offensive lineman from UCLA, J.L. Skinner, the safety from Boise, Jordan McFadden from Clemson, Corey Trice from Purdue, Jarrett from Maryland, Rodriguez from Kentucky, and then Colby Turner from Wake Forest. So I told y'all that I'm going to give my grade on this. So what I want you to do is give me your grade as well. Scale it from 0 to 100. And I want you to think of this as like legitimate grades, right? If you hate it, you can give it a 50. It's okay. I hate today's current grading system where 70 people think it's failing. 70's a C. 70's okay in my book. So when I think about this ESPN mock, I'm going to end up giving it about a 70 grade. And the reason is I don't love the Will Levis pick at 1. I get why they did it. However, you're able to get a lot of good value. You're getting good players a little bit later on in the draft that I do think are going to fit. Like, I like the Dalton Kincaid move. I like the Eli Ricks move. I like the Mafi move. I love the value in J.L. Skinner and love the value in Corey Trice. Not crazy, like I said, about Levis, not crazy about Roy, and I was not crazy about Rakeem Jarrett or Chris Rodriguez, but then again, those are a little bit later on. So that was my grade, a 70 overall, and remember, if you're looking for more mocks, you're looking for more Raiders content, we're your one-stop shop here at the Raiders Report.